Hello, gentlemen. This is Adam from the Adam Lab. I will be showcasing the state of Octane with Cinema 4D and the state of Octane in general. Even if you are not using Cinema 4D, let's say you are using Blender or Maya or whatever that might be, that would give you a general idea of the state of the render engine Octane if you are using it right now. This is a very simple scene that I did set up using Cinema 4D, and this is Cinema 4D R23, not R23 in terms of the new version of 2023. No, this is R23 that was released a few years ago. So this is the scene as you can see right here. I will go ahead and remove the chair so we can see, and then I will bring the source light that I have, and the light source that I have is actually Octane light, and even the materials that I have at the bottom, they are actually Octane materials. And I do have Octane plugin working, and it's right here, so I will go and do live preview, and then I would just bring it and put it here to the side, and then we would go ahead and render it. Well, voila, the plugin for Octane engine is working just fine, and I did open it, and right now it's rendering as you can see. Keep in mind, I am recording the screens. Usually when I do benchmark videos, I do not record the screen just for the fact that I don't want anything to hinder the performance, so we can have the most realistic performance that we can. Whatever numbers you see here, for with a grain, take it with a grain of salt. So what I am going to do, I'm going to change the camera to a perspective, and then let's zoom in, and then zoom in even further, and probably do this and zoom in. So this is the shot that I did set up, and maybe we'll just rotate it. So let's click, and then I want to rotate it maybe 90 degrees, possible? Is that possible? So I want the cut. Here we go. Probably that, and then just bring it a bit here. Probably resize it. I think that's better. And here we go. So this is the shot that I have, and this is the live preview. And me setting up this shot is simply an example of me telling you that, hey, Octane is working. Now, a couple of stats before we go further. The machine that I'm working with, we have the M1 Max with 64 gigabyte of RAM, and then that would come with a 32 core GPU, and then the 10 core CPU as well with 8 terabyte of storage. So this is the fully spec'd out M1 Max 16-inch version with Cinema 4D R23, and R23 is actually running through Rosetta. It's not running natively on the M1 Max. So that's something to keep in mind, because in order to run Octane is still not natively being run on the M1 Max. You actually need to run it through Rosetta. So with that, let's say you want to render this whole scene. What you can do is actually just cloud and then send scene. When you send scene, it would go to the software that is meant to be for Octane. So right now I am sending the scene, and the scene is being exported, and since the scene is being exported, it will actually transfer to Octane. So what we're gonna do is bring Octane right here. Voila. This is the render target that I have right here, which is the shot that I did set up with all the notes and everything is set up. And then all what you can do is start rendering it, and actually the project is rendering already, as you can see. And furthermore, I will open the activity monitor to show you what's going on as well. But the main thing that I want to show you is Octane X, and then Octane X is running through Intel, and that is simply the Octane engine. Now you might ask, well, how the heck do I download Octane X? For me, the way that I went about it is simply go to the App Store. From the App Store, type Octane, and then from Octane, it's actually right here, and that is Octane X. You can download it and you will be good to go. One thing you need to keep in mind, which is really good probably for you to know, is actually Octane, if you have one of the newer Mac versions, what you can do is you can get that version for 1 year for free, and that's what I am using right now. So if I go back, as you can see, it's saying I have 198 days left, and simply I registered, went into octane.com, which I will leave the link for you down in the description. After you go there, you sign your new bot machine with the M1 or even the Intel machine or whatever that may be, and then it will give you 1 year of Octane. So this is Octane render website, and the Mac Pro offer is right here. So you go in there, you register your new Mac, and then you get the first year for free, and then after the first year it will be around 40 pounds a year, which I believe would be equivalent to $41, but do not quote me on that since the prices change in exchange from dollar to pounds. The M1 Max, and then even if you have an Intel-based Mac as well, it will be the same case with AMD. So for example, you need an AMD Intel-based or an Apple GPU supported, and that would be through Mac OS Pixar or even further. It does support every software that you can think of, from Nuke to Cinema to Blender to Modo to Autodesk, Maya, Lightwave, and then Houdini, that 3ds Max, and then After Effects as well, and then even AutoCAD. Going back to Octane right now, as you can see, the Apple M1 Max GPU is being used to the max right here, and then if from the efficiency cores, we are using around the 3, and then the 7th, I believe, core probably is being used to the max, or maybe the 8th. So that is something to keep in mind, but it doesn't matter. Right now I do have multiple software open, and the machine is breezing through, no issues. Now usually when I render the scene and I am not recording the screen, it takes way less than 7 minutes for it to render, but because I am recording the screen and doing everything, this scene is actually taking around 7 minutes to render. But for a shot of this quality and 7 minutes, that's actually really nice, and I like this shot. Probably I will share it on Instagram, but that's not the main conversation. Going back here, as I said, in order to set up a shot or just move or whatever that might be, the view will be working just fine. However, let me show you something real quick. We go to the settings in Octane, and then in the settings we would get here. Then after that, you go to the settings tab, and then from the settings tab, you hit on device settings, and it would show you the following. So the following, it will show you the memory size, and then the memory size that we have is 64 gigabytes, and it's running it through AMD compatibility mode, which you can render, use for a priority tune-up, and then even denoise with. And the engine runtime data, so far what it's using is around 1 gigabytes, and then it will tell you the total memory available for the device. So it's actually seeing the whole M1 Max GPU at 64. However, I do think that the maximum that it can go to is 48, if I am not mistaken. But even though the GPU headroom is set at 512, so I can actually increase that to the whole, which is 1 gigabyte, which even would give me better performance, and still there is no issues. And you can, as I said, use it for denoise if you want, but it's running it through AMD compatibility mode. So this is the state in general, and as you can see, it's working without any issues with me, and it's working just fine. However, to get to that point where it's working without issues is actually not something easy and not something simple that you can simply just with a snap of a finger do and then be done. It takes a lot of work and a lot of figuring out to get it to the point where it's working right now without any issues, and the render is done and it actually looks beautiful. Now, how do you set it up in order for it to be working just like how I have it here without any issues? That is something I will be talking about in further videos, so subscribe for that so you can see it. And before we end the video, I will show you Cinema 4D R26 and R25 as well. This is R26 with R26, that's so I wouldn't have any, for example, extension for Octane. So since Octane is not running natively on the M1, you wouldn't be able to run it. Well, then you might say, why not change Octane R26 to running through Rosetta, so you can have Octane running on Cinema 4D, for example? That's a great question, and I will show you why that is not possible. The reason that this is not possible, as you can see right now, this is the Cinema 4D Octane Enterprise Pro Mac, which is the plugin. The plugin have information for R21, R22, R23, R24 and R25, but it doesn't have anything for R26 or even the newer version of 2023. Therefore, the latest that you can go to in order to have Octane running without any issues on the M1 Max is actually Octane R25, and then I would bring a 25 here as well so we can take a look. So this is 25, and 25 is running through Rosetta right now, and as you can see, I do have the option to go with Octane and Octane Live Preview if I want, and I wouldn't have any issues with that. Well, now you might say or ask, oh, this is all good and dandy, but how the heck do I run it through Rosetta? And that's actually something really simple. So let's say this is your Cinema 4D, for example. This is my Cinema 4D R25. Simply you would go to Cinema 4D and then Command I, and then it would show you the app info, and with the app info you can actually highlight open using Rosetta, so you can turn it off where it will be using M1 Max, or you can say open using Rosetta, or for example you can double click and then or right click and then get info and it will show you the same thing, but I am just used to Command I to see that. And aside from this is the state for Octane or Octane X for Mac, and the Apple Silicon, as well as Cinema 4D as of it's September 2023. If there is any questions or concerns, you know where to leave them. And if you want to support the channel, you know how to do that. Aside from that, gentlemen, have a good day and happy rendering.